This video was created by Violent Pika, a Violent Pika lover.
Hello everyone, this is Pika Lover here, back with another Borderlands 2 video for you guys, and today I'm going to be talking about the worst weapons made by Maliwan. I already did the best ones, now it's time for the worst ones. However, there's not a lot of bad weapons made by Maliwan. However, there are a couple that you could just avoid or skip. And these will be the worst weapons made by Maliwan starting now.
Number 7.
The Volcano. Now, it's not too bad of a weapon, but it's not really a good weapon either. Basically, it's just pretty terrible. The one thing that's pretty bad about the Volcano is that the Volcano can have pretty much a lower base damage. Plus, it doesn't really do as much. The only main problem with this gun is that it's not really powerful. It's not really good. It's basically just ordinary and not really worth your time. But if you like it and if you want it, it could be obtained from killing the warrior, or you could get it from the handsome sorcerer.
Number 6.
The Infection. Now, some of you may say that I'm crazy, but this gun actually kinda sucks. One thing that's terrible about the Infection is that the Infection basically just explodes. The Infection's projectiles would just explode when they reach their exceeded distance, which makes it bad at combat. Well, at farther away combat, that's what I should say. But that's why it's pretty terrible. And it's really bad if you're really farther away. You have to get really close. Otherwise, it won't do any good. But if you want the Infection, it can be obtained from Veracitus, Deciduous, Triple O, or one of the Survendors.
Number 5.
The Crit. Yes, the Crit is pretty terrible. However, it is a Moxie weapon, which kinda makes it pretty good. But there's just one thing that makes the Crit not really good in the bunch. The one problem is that the Crit, when you reload it, it has a chance to like fall from your hands. And if you're in a place, and that can be terrible, because if you're in a place where there's lots of different enemies blocking your path, or if it's farther away, or if you die, you may lose the Crit. And that's why it's pretty terrible. But if you really like the Crit, it could be obtained from the Assault on Dragonkeep DLC after completing the quest. Critical Fail. That's what it was called.
Number 4.
The Chulane. I'm not so sure how to really pronounce it, but I'm going with Chulane. But anyway, here we are. So, the Chulane is... So the one thing that's really terrible about the Chulane is that it slags you. Now, however, the Chulane, if you're unfamiliar with the Chulane fires both shock and slag. they fire shock and slag projectiles, just like the Florentine, except, well, not really some plasma caster bullets. So anyway, one thing that's really terrible about the Tulane is that the Tulane slags you, making you extra vulnerable to gunshot and melee attacks, and even grenade damage. So if you're gonna use the Tulane, you'll want to step back. Otherwise, just drop it. But if you really like the Tulane, and if you want it, you'll have to complete the quest Clan Wars Zaffords vs. Hodunks.
Number 3.
The Wanderlust. You do not want the Wanderlust. Lots of people know that. But I'm not just gonna say that, but the Wanderlust is pretty terrible. One thing that's pretty bad about the Wanderlust is that number 1 has pretty high ammo consumption. And with the binary prefix, it fires 6 ammo per shot. And the Wanderlust may not even do enough damage. Another thing that's basically lacking the goods of the Wanderlust is that the Wanderlust is poorly inaccurate. Like, very inaccurate. Which kinda is pretty terrible. And it shouldn't be sucky because it's a pearlescent, not a blue rarity. But that doesn't upset me. That doesn't really upset me. But it's just not really too good. But if you want the Wanderlust, you'll have to kill Tubbies on Ultimate Volt Thunder mode on OP8. Or on OP8, I should say. Or you'll have to use a save editor. But if I were you, I would not go after the Wanderlust.
Number 2.
The Pyrophobia. Yes, the Pyrophobia is definitely not good. Basically, the Pyrophobia is pretty terrible. One thing that sucks about the Pyrophobia is that with certain accessories, the rocket speed may be high, and that's pretty bad for the Pyrophobia because the Pyrophobia has little novas that keep exploding until it hits something. And it doesn't even do good to different enemies, and that's just pretty terrible. If I want a rocket launcher, I would just use the Norfleet or the Mongol. And definitely not the Pyrophobia. But if you like the Pyrophobia, and if you want the Pyrophobia, it can be obtained from Clark, from Hallowed Hollow, or you can get it from Incinerator Clayton.
Number 1.
The Storm. This thing just sucks. It's a really terrible sniper rifle. I can't even use it. This one is just the worst of the worst. Now, one thing that sucks about the Storm is that the Storm, when you fire it at something or someone, there's these little Tesla orbs, those shock orbs, and they kind of look pretty cool. But the problem is, Number one, they go away so fast. Number two, they don't even deal enough damage. They won't even hurt or kill or demolish an enemy. Just, you would think that this would blow your mind. Well, here's the answer. No. So unless if you score a critical hit, you'll deal less damage, which makes the storm suck. But if you really like the storm, and if you want to fiddle around with it, you're back on UVHM. It can be obtained from Tubbies, the little guys. Oh my gosh, what the heck? Or if you're playing on True Hunter mode or normal mode like I am, it can be obtained from Tiny Tina's Loot Explosion. Alright guys, that's gonna wrap up this particular video. Did you guys like this video? If you guys did, please be sure to give it a like. And as always, my name is Pika Lover, and I'm gonna see y'all later.